Hi, I'm Lori George with Let's Make Art. Welcome to part 5 of our Acrylic Beginner Series. Today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite things to do with acrylic paint, and that's to add stuff on top of it. I'm going to show you some of my favorite supplies that I like to use to just have fun, and also sometimes to add extra detail on top of my painting for shading or contrast. Anyway, let me show you some of the things that I'm going to share. Okay, so here in front of me I have a supply, an assortment of things, and really there aren't a whole lot of rules with what you can add on top of acrylic paint. And sometimes you can actually add it in the middle of your painting too. We'll get to that later, but anything that's permanent you can definitely add. So even like a Sharpie or these Pitt pens or microns, you can add details with those. Then there's also, you can add, these are Prismacolors, color pencils, gel pens. You might be familiar with Posca Paint markers here. And then these are really awesome. These are the Decocolor Premium Prime Primo metallic paint pens. If you're looking for a beautiful metallic paint pen, I have not seen anything better than this. So, and it comes in gold and bronze and all sorts of different shades.
That's why it's called Primo.
Primo. It's
Primo.
Prime, premium prime primo.
Yes.
Like, they're not joking around.
No.
Okay, then we also have chalk pastels. These are also from Prismacolor. They're called New Pastels, NU for New Pastels. Then we also have, these are some cool 3D liners. This is actually filled with acrylic paint. And we have these cool tips that we'll play with that can make different lines.
Neat.
And you can have it show some extra dimension too by putting it on thicker. And then I'm going to show you my absolute favorite art supply, probably of all time.
Oh.
I'm not just going to say it.
Okay.
Just going to go for it. These are Caran D'Ache Neocolor 2 water-soluble wax pastels. Okay.
Wow.
Now you can look at these. There's several broken ones, and I have even more at home. These are loved. I use these a lot, and I enjoy them, and I get to show you what to do with them.
Yes.
All right, so let's get started. I brought some in-progress art. So art that maybe it's not really quite done all the way, or maybe it's even in kind of its beginning layers. And I'm just gonna show you what you can do to add some dimension and detail to these. All right, so I'm gonna flip through and I'm gonna pick one that I can use some of these pens with. So let's see. And some of these are actually just like my brush boards that I make when I have leftover paint, when I'm painting something and I don't want to waste. And so I just kind of brush it onto something. So that's what a lot of these.
That's convenient.
These are, yeah. And so I like to go through and just add, like, you know, like when you're younger, did you ever doodle?
Oh yes, I still doodle.
I still doodle too. And that's kind of what mark making is a lot of the time. It's just doodling. It's just adding little dots and dashes and texture, pattern to your work. I might start with this one.
Yeah, I like that one.
All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pick, we probably know what a Sharpie will do, right? We know what Sharpies do.
I've seen a Sharpie before.
Maybe we'll pick this Pitt pen here.
Yes.
And I'm just gonna find a spot where I want to add some interest. So this thing right here is popping out to me, this peach color. And I know that adding this black is gonna be a nice contrast to the lighter peach tone, so I'm just gonna make some dots, okay?
Okay.
And I can make them kind of haphazard, or I can make them even. I usually don't like to mess with perfection, and so I just like to do it. And really, like for me, so anytime I see that peach color, I'm gonna do the same. I'm just gonna repeat the pattern. For me, this is about fun. Like, I'm not super invested in how it turns out, because I wanna have fun when I paint. Like, I wanna enjoy it, and I want to try some different things, and so I'm just gonna doodle, and if I don't like it, guess what I can do? What do you think?
Start over.
Paint over it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't have to commit fully. I can just have fun and doodle, and sometimes like I'll, whether I'm in a meeting or on a phone call, I will just sit there and doodle. My art space at home, I have paper covering my counter, and it's just covered in doodles and patterns and mark making.
Cool.
So yeah,
it's a stress-free environment.
Yes.
Just the continuation of a friendly childhood doodle session.
Absolutely. I like it.
Yeah.
And so that's a pen, okay? And then the Micron pen would do very similar to what the Pitt Pen did. So I'm gonna pass over to those. So now I wanna go into colored pencils. Now I will say, anything that's not permanent, you will eventually have to use a fixative. And what the fixative does is it fixes it to the paint, to your page or your paper or your canvas, so that it won't rub off. Now, the nice thing is that when you are in this process of mark making or adding some details, and like maybe if you're adding some shading or highlights to your piece, if you don't like it, they will wash off. And so you don't have to commit yet until you decide you're done, and then you can use fixative, which I'll talk about in part 6 of our Acrylic Beginner Series.
Nice.
Yeah, it won't be permanent until then.
Cool.
Anyway, so yeah, so that's why there's so many, like anything pencil or anything like loose media you can use. I'm gonna take this light blue here. I'm gonna kind of test it here, see what color it is. Okay, I like that. And I'm going to pick out some of these blue spots and just, let's see, what should I add? Let's do some dashes.
I was going to say dashes.
You were going to say dashes?
Same page.
Something, okay.
Something.
All right, so here I'm doing, this is lower contrast, so you don't always have to have high contrast here, where I'd use a dark something with a light color underneath. Here, it's very subtle. And so that is one way that I do like to add some details to my work. And so you may not see it from far away, but when the viewer comes and sees it up close, they're gonna notice all of that. And it's really fun.
All those little details.
Yes. And so I like to kind of pick a few different spots where I do the same thing, just to kind of add some continuity and some repeating patterns. But you don't have to. Where else? Let me pick one more spot here. Over here. So this piece I'm working on right now is actually one that a sample that I did from our acrylic starter box, the color wheel lesson. This is the bonus abstract project that comes in the box. And so I just taped it off in a grid-like pattern, and then using the extra paint from when I made the color wheel, I made this, and I made several others as well that you'll see.
Fun.
Yeah, and so I decided I want to come in here and just add some detail. All right, so that's colored pencil. I might add, maybe I'll use some little pink, just some bigger stripes here. Okay, but really, if you can make dots and dashes and circles, you can mark make, you can doodle, right?
Totally.
Totally. All right, I'm just gonna continue that there. All right, so the next art supply that I will show you that you can use are these jelly roll pens. Some jelly roll pens or gel pens are permanent, so you can kind of check with the manufacturer, check the information. So you might not have to fix these, but these are some pretty colors. I love white, especially, and also some of the pretty metallics that you can get in the jelly roll pens, and we carry a lot of those, I believe, too.
I'm a sucker for some metallic ones.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, should we try that?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay. And I'm gonna keep working on this piece. This one's kind of calling to me now. So I love gold and navy together. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick out all of the dark spots and add some gold.
I love this plan.
And this time I'm gonna do just some little swirls like this. Like a little cursive E almost. Okay.
I have 2 E's in my name.
Do you?
Yeah. It's not a big deal.
You have a double E.
I have double E.
In fact.
Yes.
Very nice. Are you named after anybody?
No.
No?
Nope.
Just a name.
Found the name Keenan and chose it.
Nice.
They're running out of ideas.
Oh?
Yeah, there's several people in my family. So.
By the whatever number kid, they're just like, anything?
Yeah.
Anybody got one? So when I add this touch to the dark parts, it really brings out, it draws attention to some of that deep depth within your painting. So I think that's fun.
Yeah, I love that.
You think that's fun?
Our side angle shows that it's perfect.
Ooh,
look how good that looks.
Yeah, and here I move it.
Nice.
Ooh, yeah.
See?
I love metallic. So this is just fun. I especially like to do this with my abstract pieces, or even some that are somewhat expressive or, but not quite realistic, but I want to add some special touches. I like to do that. All right, so here is my white. And I'm just gonna come in here and pick out a couple spaces. Okay, and I'm just gonna make some little X's. there, and then I'll come on here too. And you can do it however you want, honestly. Like there's not really any rules to this. Are there rules to fun?
No.
Right?
Nope.
So just
you
have
can
fun.
you can even misspell the word fun.
You
and
can.
You still have a good time.
How would you do that?
I would add a second N.
And okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think there's something to that.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, so I like to kind of continue it through somehow, bring it around, but do whatever you want. This is fun time. You know, like there's so many things in life that aren't fun. Don't let art be one of those, right? Let art be the fun thing that you can enjoy and take pressure off yourself and just relax.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Amen.
Amen. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. I added some detail. You know, I might go in and do some other things with this, but for the most part, I feel like I improved it a little bit and made it a little more interesting and a little more finished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if not, you got to use some different tools.
And if not, I just have fun. Yeah, exploring some tools. Okay, so now I want to show you some of these Posca paint pens and the other metallics. And so let me find one that might work well for that. Have you done much paint penning?
I've used them. I can't remember what I use them for. It's not. That should tell you that I don't, use them that often. But I've used them in the past.
Yeah.
And I enjoy them a lot.
Yeah, paint pens in general have been around for a while. Let's see, I don't know which way's up and down, but it really doesn't matter, does it? This is just kind of a little brush board.
Cool.
The Posca brand itself is a really nice paint pen. They tend to have really good opacity, so not too see-through. White and black are kind of like the bread and butter of the paint pen colors, but there are other colors as well. And also, let me show you too. Posca has several different tips that vary in thickness. So you can see here, let's see, where can I hold that?
That's a good
Does
spot.
that show okay? Okay,
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put it on a dark background so you can see even better. Yeah, there we go. So we're going from thicker, see the thicker thing there, thicker to medium, and then kind of a very fine tip there.
Wow.
I tend to like this middle ground or the bigger. The fine tip is fun, but sometimes it can catch on the textured parts of your paper.
Oh, interesting.
But anyway, I say try them out and see what you think. Let me show you what the different tips can do. So this is kind of and you want to give it a little shake, and then I just want to prime it just a little bit, make sure my paint's coming out. Okay, I can see that it is. And I'm gonna go through and I'm just gonna make some, how about some little zigzags? What do you think?
Yep, I like zigzags.
Okay, and I'm gonna repeat that maybe somewhere over here. So you can see it's a nice thickness of a line there. Yeah. And then the white really does pop. It shows up, it's opaque. So, and I try not to think too much about this. I'm okay if I end up not liking it. Like I've done that enough that I've accepted it. And I'm like, it's part of the process. It's part of the process of exploring and figuring out how to make art. We don't want to be the same as everybody else. So how do we find our own style and create our own look that is particular to us?
Yeah, unique.
Yes, exactly. Like sometimes for me, like realism, I can do it, but that's not what my body wants to do. That's not what my hands and my arms want to do. My hands and arms want to do big expressive strokes. And so I try not to fight that, and I try to kind of just go with the flow and see what happens, right?
That's great advice.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna take this orange here. And sometimes actually, I'm gonna just do that. Sometimes you can just go and just kind of, if you hold the end of your paint pen, you lose a little bit of your control, which can be great because you're gonna get more organic type shapes and looks. So I'm really just kind of, and I'll even use, like if I use my shoulder to move it, you're gonna get kind of some nice varied shapes.
Get your shoulder into it.
That's right. It's like if you want to paint loose, you gotta let go. Like you can't be tight and like this if you want to paint loose.
That's the secret.
That is the secret. You gotta let go. All right. So that's Posca. This little fine one, I actually don't even know if this has much in it, but we'll see. I'm just gonna come and just kind of outline these little pink parts here, just for fun. And you know, as you get going with mark making and exploring some of these fun art supplies, you'll kind of come to some different marks that you enjoy more than others, and you'll start to kind of do that, and maybe that'll become your signature.
Oh, nice.
You know, right?
Yep.
It'll kind of become the look and say, oh, Keenan did that. We know Keenan did that.
You can tell because it's dainty and a fine pink line.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yes.
anyway, I'm gonna kind of leave that there. And with this, sometimes I will add mark making to my final layer, but other times it'll kind of be in the middle. Sometimes I'll come to a piece and I'll say, I don't really know what to do with this. This is a brush board. I don't know where I'm going. And I'll just kind of just get out a lot of feelings or just put some stuff on there and just enjoy that part of it. And then maybe I'll like it. And maybe I'll come back with some more paint on top of that. And some of that will show through, but not all. And that's okay. I think that adds so much detail and interest to your work. So I recommend it.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. These are really, really fun. These are from Decocolor, and the metallic on this is just beautiful. And why talk about it when I can just show you, right? Let's just go.
Instead of talking about it, be about it.
I know, be about it. I like it. Okay, so, is this gonna be dry on me?
Oh, snap. See, and I like the metallic stuff
Oh,
too.
I'm gonna have to shake this up. I use this so much that it might be out, but we are gonna carry these in our shop, so. All right, well you know what? Never fear, I have a smaller one. And I have the bronze too.
Ah, good.
Okay,
good.
they come in some different sizes. So this is a little bit of a smaller tip there. This is a chisel tip, which is nice. I use these two. You know what? I think this room is so cold and they've been sitting in here. All right, let's try this one. This is gonna be sad.
The studio is cold.
Okay.
There you go.
This one's
nice.
pretty good.
Good.
All right, this one doesn't quite show the metallic beauty of it as well as the gold does, but it's very pretty.
And this is bronze, that's the color?
Actually, maybe copper. Let me look here.
Ooh.
It doesn't say.
We can name it.
I think it might be copper. It's bronze or copper. I think it's bronze, actually.
Nice.
Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of come in here and just kind of add some little touches,
our
you know?
side cam shows the metallic real well.
Does it? Okay,
Yep.
good. And with this one, so I like to vary my strokes. So some of these are really small and tight, and other ones I'm just gonna kind of make it look like it doesn't really matter. Like I'm not trying, it's just more natural that way, loose and free. And honestly, to me, that kind of starts to look like mountains potentially in the background.
Gives it some shape.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so I can take this and add to it as much as I want. You can really, with watercolor paper or acrylic paper, mixed media paper can hold up to quite a bit of layers. So quite a few layers. So don't feel like you are stuck ever. Just keep going. All right, so that is, that looks kind of cool.
Yeah, that one's awesome.
Yeah, this one I would probably keep going and do a few more things to it to kind of like figure out where does this want to go? What does this want to turn into? To me, it looks kind of like a landscape.
Me too.
Yeah. And so I might, go with that part.
Cool.
Yes. Okay, so next we will talk about these chalk pastels. Chalk pastels, there are a lot of different brands and different firmnesses. Firmnesses, is that a word?
It is, yes. I've heard it here.
Different firmness. You heard it here, so that makes it official. So some are really soft, and meaning that they go on like butter and they will smooth really well, but they also might create a lot of dust. And then these ones are a little bit more firm and are not quite as dusty. If you've ever used chalk, you know that it comes with dust. All right, so let me pick a piece here that I want to add some chalk pastels to. Let's see, I might pick one that's a little more finished. Maybe, let's see, maybe this one. Okay. All right, so what I would do with this is use the chalk pastel to create some contour or some shading or highlighting to add that dimension that I want, and then just to loosen it up a little bit. So I'm gonna take this yellow, and I always like to test my colors first to make sure that it's what I want. Okay, so this yellow is fairly close to here, but I'm gonna go ahead and bring it in here, kind of at the bottom, and just kind of work it up this way. Now, I can blow it off, or I can tap it to get some of the chalk dust off of there. One other thing you can do is you can kind of smear it, kind of rub it in there a little bit more. And this is very subtle. I'm not sure if that's picking up at all, but that's okay. Like sometimes you want it to be nice and subtle. Let me add, let's go over here. Let me add this kind of peachy, orangey color over here. Oh yeah, I like that. So I'm just gonna kind of add it to a few select places instead of all over. I think that's gonna help it make it look a little bit more real and a little bit more.
I like that.
Beautiful. All right, kind of rub that in just a little bit. So see how that adds just a little bit more dimension? Okay. You can do mark making also with chalk pastels. Like I could go in there and do marks for this particular piece. I don't feel like it's where I want to go. Let me see this nice coral color. Kind of come in here, add some highlights there. See how that kind of shows up pretty well?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I wanted to, I could kind of repeat it down here. And if I didn't want it to be quite as, I guess, stand out quite as much, I could smooth it in. So that way it's talking to this color, so it looks like it all kind of goes together, but it's not quite as strong and not competing necessarily with that part. Okay, and so what I might do too is take some green and work on the stem. So this would be more, this color might be more of my highlight color, and here's kind of a darker green. Okay, I'm gonna start with the darker green and create some, and add to the shadows that are here. So I'm gonna come in here, kind of pick up on some of the, some of the parts that are kind of folded in the leaf there. Okay, and I'll repeat that over here too. Now, the thing with chalk pastels, since they are a loose media, they will need to be fixed as well. And again, I'll share my favorite fixatives in the next beginner series, part 6. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that there, and then I'm gonna go through and add, and you'll see it's a little bit messy. So don't worry, you can just dip your fingers in some water, rub that off, get your paper towel, wipe that off. It comes right off. Okay, so let me add some highlights, thinking about where the light might hit on these. And I'm not gonna I don't worry too much about, I do think about light, but I don't like fret. Does that make sense? I don't like to fret.
You take it into consideration.
Yeah, but even just adding those few little touches creates some dimension and some interest. And if I don't like it, like I may think that that dark is a little much, so I can just get a damp paper towel and wipe it off. Or even smooth it out.
That's cool.
Take some off. Yeah. See, so it's still, it's a little bit wet now, but you don't see the lines quite as much. Right. And if I wanted to wipe it all off, I could to do that as well. So I don't like that as much. Yeah. Okay, so that is chalk pastels.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to, should we do this? These are my favorite. These are the Neocolor 2s. Now, these are Swiss made. They are very cool, but do know that there are Neocolor 1s and there are Neocolor 2s. These are 2s, and these are the water-soluble ones. The Neocolor 1s are wax pastels, and they're not water-soluble. They're just like wax, like a crayon.
Yep.
Whereas these react to water. So don't make the mistake that I did and order the wrong ones to start. It's okay though.
But that's how you learn.
That's how you learn.
Nice.
Yeah. So for this, I think for this one, let's do, actually this piece started with Neocolors and I added water to them. So I'm going to do that here too.
Fun. Yes.
And
yes, please.
I will need a brush for this one. Just grab a brush here. All right. So thinking of our color wheel, we have some purples and some blues in here. I can go for using a complementary color to add some interest for like maybe a focal point. So Keenan, where should I go with that to add some, add a complementary color?
Oh snap. I would want to add, I'm trying to think of the color wheel. I would want to add a complementary color for the blues.
The blues, okay. And the complementary color for blue is?
I'm picturing it in my head. It is
orange, yes.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Awesome.
It's already in your hand.
I'm like, here. Okay, so no, yeah. So I could go like yellow for the purple, or I could go with the orange to complement the blue. Or if you want to keep it an analogous color scheme, you could pick a green or a pink. Kind of analogous just means it's close to each other on the color wheel. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and lean into this orange color.
Yes.
And I think I'm just going to kind of start with just kind of some loose kind of dots. They could be flowers. They could be something, I don't know. I'm gonna add those in there, okay? And then I'm gonna come over here and do the same thing. And I'm gonna go a little taller just to kind of create some composition, interesting composition there. Okay, now what I can do is I can emulsify the Neocolor that I just put on there by getting my brush damp.
What?
Or wet, and I can activate it.
Is emulsify?
So I think it's just reacting, getting it to react and become more of a fluid.
Oh.
I don't know exactly what the definition of emulsify is now that I think about it. But
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, we might need some assistance. It's funny when you get in front of the camera too, you're like, what do I know? I don't know. Yeah, so I'm just activating this and I am kind of moving it around as I would a paint, like a watercolor or whatnot. Okay, and I can even bring it up here too to kind of introduce this orange or peachy color into our composition. So it kind of talks to each other. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
Does that make sense? Okay, and then I think what I want to do too is add some yellow to this, or it's like a golden yellow. Let me get the top of that. Now, here's one cool thing you can do too. So you saw me get my paintbrush wet. I can also dip this into the water.
What?
Yes. So I can dip this in and then I can draw with it. So I'm just gonna kind of.
Pre-emulsified?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so I'm just gonna kind of add that in there. So I would probably keep working at this and figuring out like what would work well for this composition. And I might even go in and like blend some more to say, okay, maybe it'll become like a little bit more of a yellow orange or a little more impressionistic. You see what happens when I add the yellow over the blue?
Yes.
It makes it a little more green. I like that.
I do too.
So, you know, a lot of art is just play. It's just play and trial and error and taking some risks that maybe, you know, you don't always go the safe route, because taking the risks is where the reward is going to come in, where you do something different, you do something unique. That's what I say. What do you say, Keenan?
I mean, I agree.
You agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's reward inside of risk. Some scenarios you might want to be careful.
Right,
But
like
in art,
when crossing the street.
Yeah,
or,
crossing. Yeah, exactly. You're not trying to risk that. But yeah, with art, risk it.
Yes.
Try it all.
And sometimes I have pieces that will just remain my fun pieces, and other times I'll finish them off and people love them, and it's exciting, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
So here I'm adding the yellow to our blue a little bit to create some green, some like yellow greens and stuff. Yeah. So these are a lot of fun. If I was starting on a fresh piece by itself, I would, let's see if I can find a piece here. There we go. I might just take this and just start scribbling like that. Okay, and then I might add a color that's close to it, like an orange. Actually, no, I want to do green. Let's do green. I'm gonna take kind of this green color and kind of just mix it in a couple little places. And then I'm gonna add water and just start kind of painting.
Cool.
Yeah. So see how it gives kind of a watercolor effect?
Yeah.
And then the more that I blend it and mix it in, the more that it'll kind of have those smooth transitions that I sometimes like. And I can add more to this. I can add So I can add some blue to keep it kind of that analogous color scheme there. I just add a bright blue. So as you can see, I can keep going and going and going. Here's some blue. What do you think?
It already started to blend when you put it in the already wet yellow and green.
Yeah,
And
no, you're right. You're right. It was already kind of,
yeah.
Since it's wet. Yeah,
It like does its own thing, and you can use it as an accent.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so those are Neocolors.
Wow.
I recommend playing around and seeing what you can do with these. I enjoy them, obviously.
Yes.
I'm like, do we have to move on to the next thing?
Why?
I know, right? Okay. I like to just dab some color and some interest over there. Okay. All right, moving on. Sadly, no. The next thing, the last thing I'll show you, and these are just a selection of the tools and the art supplies that you can use to make marks and add some different layers and interest to your pieces. So don't feel limited. Don't feel limited. And don't feel like you have to get all of these either. They're fun, but start with what you can. Okay, so these are called 3D liners. They're made by Sennelier. And this is the brand that we have in our acrylic starter box, also the paint brand, and they are a very good quality company. And so these are their special liners that have a really fine tip. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. And so when I squeeze the paint out, it's gonna come out, you know, already in this fine thing, right?
Cool.
And so it's kind of like, I want to say like puff paint, or like, you know, like the Tulip brand or whatever that has the paint that you squeeze out, and you can leave it sort of three-dimensional, or you can use a brush and kind of paint it down.
Whoa,
Look at that color.
I didn't think it was going to be that spreadable. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, this is just acrylic paint, actually.
What?
Yeah. So anyway, there's different things you can do with it. Okay, but let me show you what else though. So also one of the things that we'll be carrying are these paint tips. So the way that they've made these is that you can put these on. I don't think they go on these, but I don't think they go on these, but I'll look. No, they go on your Sennelier pouches.
Oh, snap.
So you can essentially make your pouches into a little liner of sorts.
Cool.
Add these tips.
To go along with those things.
Yes, and so let me find a tip that might be kind of interesting. How about, it's got a 3-prong thing on it.
Yep.
Let's try that. So look, it just screws right on there.
Dang.
And then let me let's see. Let me add to one of these pieces over here. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Maybe the green.
The green?
I like that. I mean, you already skipped over it.
What about this one?
That one will look good.
This one? Okay.
Yep.
So I've got the ultramarine
'cause
blue.
you've got
Oh, I can do
blue.
all the colors
Oh,
with
yeah.
these ones. Okay. So let's see, how do I like that? So I'm just gonna go for it.
Okay, do
All
it.
right, here we go. So I'm just gonna squeeze and see what happens. It's gonna take a second for the paint to get in there. Okay, it's starting to come out. I'm shaking. All right, here we go. All right, so I can just bring that along like that. Well, that's kind of cool.
That is super cool.
That's some nice
I like
marks
how
there. Oh, there we go.
I like how initially
More
how it was kind of
consistent.
having a hard time to get out of there. I like how it made it dotted lines almost. Like
Yeah,
that looks cool.
it helps to blend it into there instead of standing out so much
Yeah.
on the top.
Yeah,
That's
awesome.
pretty cool.
That's
Okay,
neat.
so let's see if we can use the liner on here too. I'm just gonna make some little dots with it. And some of them I'm gonna put closer together, and some of them I'm gonna spread out a little more. That's fun.
That is fun.
That is fun. Okay. Any others? Let's see. Let's try this one. This is a fun color. Kind of the aqua turquoise. Let's see what type of mark should I make? Keenan, what do you think?
A heart.
A heart. Okay. Let me get it going here. Oh, there we go. A heart.
Yes.
There we go.
Works every time.
I'm gonna make some like open circles too.
Oh, open circles work too.
Like almost in like a teardrop shape.
Oh yeah.
You know, you can make patterns, or you can actually kind of follow the line of what's already there and kind of see what comes up, what it kind of turns into.
I love that idea.
Like you could, this is almost looking like waves. Again, often it's about the process and not the end result and the product. So enjoy it, you know, and be pleased with the experience that you're gaining.
Yeah.
And becoming more comfortable with your supplies, and playing with color and figuring out what combinations that you like and all of that. So yeah, so those are the Sennelier 3D liners.
Fun.
Yeah. So I've shown you a few of my favorites, and I suggest exploring. Pick a couple that really speak to you, that you want to try, and see what you can come up with. For more of our Acrylic Beginner Series, check out letsmakeart.com.